Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hope you're doing well, physically, mentally, spiritually, and hopefully I can help you in the mental and spiritual side. Okay. Thank you very much for being here, for taking your time to be here with me today. Right, let's crack on with this. A lot has been said about these great awakening, right? Of these great resets, and how it's changing people physically, mentally, spiritually. It's changing people. But this great awakening talk has been going on for years, to the point where some people are questioning whether this awakening is really real. Like, is it really happening? Has it happened? What is it exactly? Because they just see it especially in social media, people talking about awakening, people waking up. And so a lot of people are still confused as to what this awakening is. Why do they keep seeing it everywhere? And obviously, some of these people, they might think that this awakening is a false thing. It doesn't exist. It's nothing. And I'm here to give you my opinion on it. Okay. And I'm saying opinion based on what I feel, what I've experienced, talks I've had with other people. So, on my beliefs. And I'm gonna start with trying to explaining what awakening is in a very simple way that everyone can understand it. Okay. Awakening is when you go from a state to another. Okay. It's as simple as that. When you go from a state to another, see it like literally, you are sleeping and then you wake up. Okay. So when you're sleeping, you are in the state. Okay. So usually when you're sleeping, that's the most relaxed that you'll ever be, is when you're sleeping. Unless you've got problems sleeping, that's something else, obviously. But when you're perfectly fine, perfectly healthy, you're normal, you don't have any major health issues that impact your sleeping patterns. When you sleep, that's when you are the most relaxed. Okay. Not even when you're meditating, you're that relaxed. Okay. When you're sleeping, your body just eventually at one point, it fully relaxes. It's like you've got no control over your body, and your body is just like working, kind of like in the background. Okay. Because you're not consciously aware of it. Anyway, so you're asleep, and then at one point you wake up. So when you're asleep, you might have dreams, images in your head or whatever. And then when you wake up, you open your eyes and you see things. not in the same way as when you were asleep, right? So you might feel like, well, when I awake, that's the real world. It's like, okay, that's the world you live in, sure. So with this awakening, it's literally people waking up from their sleep, which is this world that we live in, and waking up to another world. I'm not talking about like fantasy world or other realms or anything, but I'm just talking about it's noticing things, noticing patterns, and asking a lot more questions. That is the awakening. When you start to see things from other points of view and you go like, I've been doing this my whole life. Now that I'm really thinking about it, it makes no sense. Why doesn't it make sense? And then you go deep into it. Or sometimes you don't even have to go too deep into it. You just start like doubting certain things. You start questioning a lot more. And they go like, this doesn't make sense. You know, it's like, why am I doing this? Why are people doing this when it makes no sense whatsoever? When it's harming me, it's harming other people, it's harming them. So why are we doing this? And then you make a decision to do either the opposite or to start going in the opposite direction. The thing with the awakening is it can be physical, sure. For example, you find out that what's really going on with the food that you consume, the food or the ingredients that you buy in the supermarket, what you put in on your plate, what you put inside your body. Once you start like realizing and getting that information, what's really in the food, then you make decisions. Okay, so it can be physical, right? That affects your body physically. It's a mental thing, obviously. You start thinking differently. You start thinking about other things. You start removing probably, and that's also part of the physical. Removing yourself from, I don't know, the company of certain people, from certain places. Okay, you start feeling like different vibes. Okay, that you never felt before, or at least you never paid too much attention to them, to these vibes, and then you start to get a bit more spiritual. I'm not talking about like, oh, I don't know, you work in a factory, you've been working in a factory and suddenly you turn into a monk. No, of course not. But you become more spiritual. Suddenly you're more interested in more spiritual subjects. Like it could be Reiki, it could be psychic mediumship, it could be tarot card readings. It could be simply, I don't know, you're more interested in self-development. Do you know what I mean? So that will affect you on a spiritual level as well. So, and you just keep asking questions and they don't stop. One question leads to an answer that will lead you to another question, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. You become more and more curious about all sorts of things. You kind of like start to see behind the background. You can see your background, but it was like, okay, but what's behind the background? That's the thing. It's like slowly, like a veil, the mist that was all around you, not just in front of your eyes, but all around you, suddenly it becomes less thick. And you can start either seeing things either with your eyes or with your third eye, and your whole body reacts, and you just and you might not even know what it is, because like, I don't know what it is, I just feel different. That is the awakening. You might get these tingling sensations. You might start noticing numbers a lot more. For example, you see, like, I don't know, the number 23 everywhere. You'll see the number 1111 everywhere. You'll see 222 everywhere. 4444, 777, 8888, things like that, or 2442, or I don't know, 3113, things like that. You start noticing these patterns, numbers, synchronicities. Okay. Maybe you start noticing, I don't know, certain smells or lights. You might start seeing some weird lights, or whether you are relaxed or not, things, you start noticing things a lot more, things that you probably took for granted, and now you start thinking more about these things. You become more grateful. Okay, you become more grateful. You start like practicing gratitude on a daily basis. For example, you research into these subjects, into these topics, and it's like, oh, have I ever been grateful? Like, really? And you pay more attention to it, and you act upon it, right? It's these things and more that makes up the awakening. Okay, so I don't know, you might notice that, like, for example, someone that doesn't contact as much, or you don't see the person as much. Maybe that person is awakening. I mean, you don't know until you ask. Like, hey, I haven't seen you, I haven't heard from you for a while, so like, what's up? You okay? Or you just feel like spending more time by yourself, and that's what awakening does to you. You suddenly start spending a lot more time alone, thinking about things. It's like, you know what, I need to take some time for myself, and you take a lot more time for yourself than usual. Or you come to think like, you know what, I haven't been by myself for a long time, and I'm talking about relationships. It's like on my own, like spend a day or an afternoon or a couple of hours, whatever that is, on my own. I haven't had that in a long time. I should do it. And you go out and do whatever you want to do. You want to walk, you can walk. You want to go and do an exhibition in a gallery or museum by yourself, you go. You want to go to the pub on your own, you go. You want to go to the cafe and have a coffee or a tea or whatever by yourself, you can, and you go. It's just little things you start noticing that you never done it, you were never interested in, you never thought about them really, and suddenly, like, it comes to you, and suddenly you want to do these things. So if you notice that you've been spending, or you want to spend more time by yourself, you don't necessarily hate people, but you just want to be kind of like separated from them a bit. You don't feel like them anymore. I'm not saying like you should feel like superior to them or you're better than them. No, no one is superior. No one is better than anyone. Okay. It's just like you're on a different level. Even your conversations are different. You don't want to talk about the soapy. You don't want to talk about the football or whatever that is. You don't want to talk about politics. You don't really want to talk about the news or what the neighbor did or didn't do, what happened. You don't want to talk about that. Now you're just interested in more spiritual stuff. Now you're more interested in, like I said, self-development, how you can improve yourself, how you can help other people improve themselves as well. So if you are in a situation, a social situation where you are with a group of people, whether friends or family or work colleagues, and they're all talking blah blah, and you just kind of like stay quiet for a little bit, and you look at them and you listen to you hear to what they're saying, and you go like, okay, I used to be like that, but now this doesn't make any sense to me. Now I want to get away from this. It's like you feel like you want to evolve. Do you know what I mean? So, and you want to talk about certain things with these people, and you might feel afraid to do that. Or maybe you're not, and when you just go ahead and start talking about these things, and people do not understand you, and I was like, what are you talking about? Why is that? It was like, what? Why are you acting crazy? Why are you acting silly? It was like, come on, don't do that. Don't become like them. You know, some people are like that. They will react that way. And you might go like, oh wow. I thought, we're just having a conversation about, it's something I like doing. Oh, why? Don't do that. Like, don't go that way. And some people that are awakening might feel discouraged, and they might feel bad because the other people told them to not go that way. But they shouldn't feel bad, because you're not the problem. If you've been in that situation, you're not, and you were never the problem. I'm not saying they are the problem. I'm just saying, like, they haven't awakened yet. They haven't got to the stage where you are. And everyone eventually will get there at one point in time. Okay? It's just like they need to go on their path. Okay? They need to have their own experiences. They need to have their own life, and you can continue yours. You don't have to put them down, but at the same time, you don't have to allow them to put you down. Do you know what I mean? So if they don't like what you're saying, what you're doing, then okay, that's fine. And often these people, they stop hanging out with you because of what you think about things and how you think about things. And they say like, oh no, he's weird or she's weird. I don't want to spend more time with that person. So in the end, they make that decision for you. And you shouldn't feel bad because it's their decision. Or you shouldn't feel bad when you make the decision. You go like, you know what? I can't be around these people because, like, I don't feel like challenged by them. I don't feel like, yeah, they're nice people and all. I can have a good time with them, but I need something else. I need to talk about this. I need to express myself in this way. And I can't being with them. Do you know what I mean? So you're already like, going up so to speak, in your awakening process, and they're not. They're still down here. And that is okay. That's the thing. That is okay. They need to accept that, and you need to accept that. You're at different levels. That's it. That's all it is. So that is what awakening is, in my opinion. And it is very real because people are doing it. You will see a lot more people living differently, taking different decisions, doing things that they never done before. But what I mean, these things is different things is things that will at least work towards improving their lives, and these people are happy, right, with these decisions, with the way things are going. Okay. It's not easy, obviously not. The awakening process is not easy at all. Okay. There's a lot of emotion going into it. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of introspection. There's a lot of confusion, doubts even. There might be some fear, sure. But like I said in previous videos, you can't let the fear influence your decisions. Okay. So there's all sorts of things going on. It's really like a roller coaster, the awakening process. Okay. One day you feel great. The next day you might feel crap. You might feel really, really down. Okay. Where you doubt what you're doing, what you doubt who you are, what you are. And then the day after, you're back to being better, and people might not understand. I was like, oh, he's such a moody person. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with her? Like she's always like, she's got these mood swings. What's going on? If they don't tell you exactly what they're going through, you'll never know. So you think like, either it's a crazy person or there's something wrong with him, with her, and it's not. So yes, the awakening is very real. It's happening. It's been happening for quite some time. There's people who are, ahead of some other people. There's people who are just started to experience that, and they're going through their feelings, emotions, and everything that comes with the awakening. But it's their path. It's their path. It's like they are carving, or they are making their own path, or the path is becoming slowly more visible. Okay, like I said, it's like that mist that is in front and all around us. Suddenly, it's like it's becoming less thick. Okay, and you're starting to perceive things with not just these two eyes, but with your third eye, with your heart, with your mind, with all the chakras. Like you start getting these tingling sensations coming from all around you. Okay. It might be confusing. It might be a lot to take on, but it's a beautiful thing to go through. It's like you're in a cocoon. You've been in a cocoon for your whole life, and then you start like breaking out of your cocoon, right? Breaking out. You start like getting these flashes of light coming through, and it's like, oh, what is this? What is this? What's going on? And all these new sensations, and when you fully embrace it, you come out of the cocoon. You've got your wings or whatever, and you've transformed. It's a transformation. It might be physical. It's definitely mental and definitely spiritual. Okay. That's my point. That's my view. That's my opinion on the awakening being real. Very, very real. And I hope you liked it. I hope you got some valuable information. I hope I was clear enough. But if you want to talk about it, if you've got more doubts, or if you've got any questions, please drop a comment below. Okay, and I'll answer them. I think like we should be talking about this. It's a subject that is very interesting and that we should all be talking about, because it's a very personal thing. And I think if you want to understand the next person, you need to ask questions. You need to at least make an effort to try and understand where they come from. Okay, that's it for today, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.